Alright guys, Joab back here. Um, Thanks for stopping by the channel and for subscribing to the channel. A lot of you guys have been visiting the channel. Thanks so much for doing that. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do it. Please support the channel. It has been I'm having a really great time creating these videos and share some of the things I've been learning, and definitely creating this as a workshop. So thanks again for your support, for stopping by. Yes, keep yourself posted, by subscribing to the channel. Alright, so I'm back here in a second video. The first video that I created was on how to prepare a 3D model object, and I used Cinema 4D for that, and I have that file ready to send it to a different software, and have that very specific 3D model ready for a 3D printer. Alright, so this is what I'm going to be covering today. I'm going to talk about software, and diving into just a little bit on the software, then migrating to the 3D printer and actually running the 3D printer and that object in the 3D printer. Okay, so again, yeah, thanks for subscribing and help us out with that. Cool, so let's dive in on here. Okay, all right, so here I am on a website of one of the really well-known 3D printer. First time that I had a chance to work with this printer, it was in a summer camp that I was working. Really nice summer camp with arts and science, and they have a bunch of this 3D printer which called Prusa, and so which is a company under Joseph Prusa, who founded this company. And this printer here, the Prusa, Prusa printers, 3D printers are really well known in the 3D printing field. Really well known. They're good printers. I mean, there's advanced, more high-end printers for beginners, and they are fairly affordable. Highly recommend if you really want to dive in on the field. Highly recommend to get one of those printers. My actually is not a Prusa, by the way, from recommendation of my college department, to think about if I would get a Prusa or a different printer. But this pretty much is very similar to the Prusa. But either one of the two printers that you see, the one that you're seeing now on the screen, or my printer, highly recommended those. Okay, but we are here in a website of Prusa Research, as you can see here, prusa3d.com. We're here to download a software which for me has been, at least for right now, the best software that really fits my need for what I do. And I would recommend you to download the software that runs that directly on this printer and work with other printers too. Okay, that can help you to prepare also a file for you to send to your printer. Okay, so here in this website, the prusa3d.com website, you pretty much will go to software, and here you have the Prusa Slicer 2.6.0. okay, so Prusa Slicer is an open source, feature-rich, frequently updated tool that contains everything you need to export the perfect print files for a 3D printer. So we export the perfect 3D files for a 3D printer. Okay, so it's like that we will do for you. So this again is an open source software as well. Okay, so here has the download, the drivers, the Windows, Mac, Linux, standalone installer. So download the one that works in your operating system and run it. Okay, so we're gonna go from there. Cool, so download this, install on your computer, and we're gonna go from there. So let me just show to you the interface of this really nice software that I have been using. All right, on the Prusa Slicer, as you can see open on my screen, I'm just gonna navigate through a little bit through through. I will not show absolutely everything, but places that you can go and get things moving and running in your, get your projects ready here and send it to your printer. Okay, have it ready for your printer. All right, a few things here. All right, so here you have the stop menu, the side menu. You have those two icons here, and you have this panel here. You also have a menu with help, configuration, view, window, edit, and file. Okay, place that you're going to be working a lot here, at least the places that I work mostly, are sort of here on the top, rarely here on the side. Sometimes I do, and definitely here too. Depending where you're doing, this menu here on the right side gets already set. You just don't change many things here. Whatever printer you're doing, you have this preset. Okay, when you open the software, it's set on your previous settings, the way that you set that software. Okay, so this one here, you're gonna add the STL file that you created on a 3D model software. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead here. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, here also you have the bed, the 3D print, the bed from the 3D printer. As you can see, this is literally what look like the bed for the Puska MK4 type model. Okay, so this is how the bed look like. So you can see by holding the mouse left button, you can change the orientation, and if you scroll in and scroll up, you can zoom in and zoom out the bed. You also have the X, Y, and Z axis here on the side, you know. So it's really, really, really nice. The bed of my 3D printer is pretty similar to this, and not too different. Cool. All right, so here is the button that you're gonna add your STL model. So I'm just gonna go ahead. Let's see. Also, there's printer settings here, filament settings, printer settings, and we're gonna go over that a little bit. So here you have the plate. Okay, so we're in a plate, and let me just add the STL model. All right, so here I have my STL model Super Cube, and you can see it got very nicely added there. Okay. All right, so this model here is not ready yet to be printed. I know that's right here on the top of the platter, or the bed, as I call. This is not ready yet, okay, and I need to make it is ready for. So few things that I need to do here. Let me start from this side here, okay. Here shows the print settings. It's so the filament type. The filament is the plastic or the material that you add in your 3D printer to print that will be used to print this 3D. So the one that I have is a PLA type of it. If you click here on the drop down menu, there's so many types of filaments here. Obviously, there's the filaments from the Prusa, because the Prusa research company also create filaments. But there's generic, there's other types of filaments. Okay, I usually leave mine on the Prusa PLA, which is pretty fine. I'm not sending this work directly to the printer because I don't have a Prusa MK4 printer, but I will save this object into a flash drive or an SD drive, and add that to my 3D printer and run it from there. Okay, so this Prusa software, so I have the type of filaments that you can see here, filaments, and the type of printer too. So it's already preset on a original Prusa MK4. Okay, so we don't have this printer, so I don't have this printer, so I don't need to worry much about this. Okay, nothing of this. This is kind of important, a little bit important, because this is excuse me. Here is how thin I want the filaments or the material, the 3D printer to run the filaments. It's like 0.05 millimeters, so ultra detail. If I want my printed object to be completely smooth, I will go with very, very thin load of filaments, you know, using very, very, very thin. If I want something very fast, I'm going to just put 2 millimeters, okay, or even 3 millimeters, which is a draft, okay. But remember, when things are ultra detailed, we will take 3 times, seriously, 3 times, we can even test here, 3 times the amount of time to print because it's ultra detailed. Or it can be very fast, 3 millimeters, a draft is going to print fairly fast, okay. So right here, mine is set on 2 millimeters quality. Okay, it's pretty decent. It has been printing really nicely, the models that I've been printing, and I will show to you in a second. Okay. All right, so I'm going to leave that one there. And here has an infill. If I want that inside of the object be printed, it's like this is like be completely solid, I go ahead here and put 100%. So that will be like completely solid. Okay, that means that this is going to be very heavy 3D 3D objects, like so almost unbreakable because a piece of plastic, solid. Okay, but if I want it to be hollow, I just put 0. So what you do is you would just print just the walls of everything here, and it's going to be completely hollow. Ideally is I usually put 15% or even 10% would be fine, so we can add some inside support inside of the forms. Okay, so that will be pretty decent. So I'm going to put 5%, you know, for the sake of this tutorial. I will not print something overly complicated here, waste too much material. Okay, all right, now is very important. Okay, really very important. Hold on, that's a part that I really want to show to you, and that I discussed a little bit in the beginning of the first video about how to create a form and the implications of creating forms this way. Okay, all right, so remember the nozzle works on top and it starts printing on a bed from bottom up. That means that there's nothing under this sphere here. What's going to happen is when the nozzle start building the bottom of this sphere, the plastic is going to start falling because there's nothing on it. There's no supports to build on it or upon it or over it. So what you want is you want to support here that when you start building the bottom of this sphere is building on top. Okay, so there's so many ways that you could try to figure this out. One, by changing the orientation of the forms. Like the form is like this, can you just flip it this? Yeah, you can. You can come here, you see rotate, there is place on face, you can just rotate. You can go here by clicking on this, and you can actually let me just click on this one. You can actually rotate. Okay, you can click on here or you can rotate through here, you see it? So when I put my mouse here inside, you can see that it shows an arrow right on a form. So I want to rotate this way first. Okay, as you can see, let me just move a little bit. I want to rotate this way, okay, like to this orientation. So I'm going to just put 90 degrees here, right there. So you can see is that was a bad idea. That would not be able to build a form like this because you see there's nothing under that gives support to this form. So it would be just a crazy mess because if there's nothing under, how the printer is going to build something up on it, because it's going to start from the tiny here, this part where is the mouse. So this is a problem here. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put 180 degrees here just to flip it complete right there. This is way better now. So you can see that now everything makes sense. My form is not touching the what's the name, the plates, right? It's not touching the plates, and that become another problem, you know, so everything's problematic here. And do you know what the problem is? I built very badly this form, which it's great for this tutorial, very great, because you can see that if this cube were touching the plate, it would be perfect because the 3D printer would just start from the very bottom, the bottom of the cube, and also the bottom of the sphere, you know, all the way top up. It will be just perfect. But because there is there's nothing here under this cube, this again, the 3D printer is gonna try to build it, but it will build on air, and this printer, this is gonna get very messy. Okay, it's gonna just ruin your entire project. There's many ways that you can fix a problem like this. One, go back to your 3D model in the 3D modeling software. The way that I would just fix this. Just make sure that the cube is down, touching the plates. It will be like problem solved like immediately. Okay, it will be ready to get things moving. Or the solution in this software, which that's the one that we're gonna do now. But let me flip this image because I want to show better what's the solution. Okay, when you have things that's is fluctuating like this, you know, it's floating in air like this. You see, that's floating. So let me show to you how you solve that when you have floating images. Let me actually rotate this image minus 90. Actually, rotate again 180. Right there. Let me go this way, okay, to show to you. All right, so go back to the initial setup, okay. All right, so you see again the sphere is floating. Here you have the option that calls supports. So support on build plates only, okay. So when you click this button here, slice now, which is the last button that you're gonna click to prepare this file for the 3D printer. This slice now is pretty much. I put a let me just put for supporting forces first, so I can show to you. So this slice here, you're gonna slice. That's what they call. They prepare the object, like how the nozzle is gonna be working and moving. You can see now it's completely cut the entire object, because the nozzle is gonna be layer by layer. These are all layers. So I start from layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, layer 5, layer 6, all the way to the last layer. So here, as you can see, shows all the details about this object right now. It shows the types of solid infill inside of the image that would take 1 hour and 51 millimeters, how much of filaments is going to be using. You can see here 1.24 grams of filaments, how many percent, 6 minutes, the top fill, every section of my image, how long it would, the 3D object, how long it would take. You can see here the top solid fill, which is this one here, how long it would take, 6 minutes. So you can see how long it takes, okay? And you can see again the entire object is sliced. Slice means like literally sliced, right? Cut it through, right? So this doesn't solve the problem. As you can see, you see here on a blue, dark blue under that says overhang perimeters. This is very problematic. That's the floating part. When the 3D printer start coming through this section, the blue section here, as you can see, everything's gonna start falling, okay? Well, we need a support here. We don't have a support, all right. So I went here and supports enforcers only, and I have 4 more options. It says support on build plate only. You have everywhere support, or for support enforcers only. So build plate support. So let's see what does it do. This one supports enforcers only. So when I put support enforcers only, didn't mess up my, hold on. I don't want to export my object. Hold on, because let me see. Oh yeah, why that? Just change here. Supports built on a plate only. For supports enforcers only. Let's see. Oh, that was the same thing, right? I'll just go back to the plate only. And then later everywhere. All right. So if I change this one here and go slice now, now you can see, and this is one of the best thing here, now you can see that the software created and gave me the option to create, you know, a support under the parts, under the sections on my 3D object that will support any section that's hang or that my 3D printer will keep throwing the filaments. So not it will be hang because it will have a support now. So the first thing that 3D printer does is it first build the support, then it start building the actual form of your object. So the support here, it's very shallow, it's very thin, but it's a really good support and it's attached to the plate. And what happened is when you finish printing your object, which later I will show to you, when you finish printing your 3D object, this support is very, very easy to detach. It's almost like it just easy, just peels off, okay, from your 3D object, okay? So that's what happened. So obviously it's gonna take longer to do because you can see now here you have support material. It's gonna take 2 hours and 50 minutes to build this support material. And it takes 40.32 grams of material. It's just a lot of material. But so therefore it's very important to know how to build your 3D object, how to place the 3D object on the plate so you can avoid wasting a lot of materials. Well, PLA filaments are not very expensive, but I mean, it's money, right? And you don't want to keep spending a lot of money. So you need to be really smart how to build the object and how to place it here so you don't use a lot. So this was, this is not the best way because I'm showing to you, I just chose this position of the object just to show to you, okay? Because I'm gonna change because it's gonna take a lot of more time to build. Here it shows, because it's a huge piece, 11 hours, and I'm gonna make this a lot smaller, okay? All right, cool. So play with the supports to fit your needs, okay? So let me just change this, and I want to use a less support. You have everywhere too here. Everywhere if you slice, you do the same thing. And even inside now, you see a lot more time, like, you know, a lot more time, even inside, which is not needed. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just change a few things around. I will not slice my object. I will just, let me see here, none. And might have to put this object back. Because I already sliced the object, let me see if I will be able to, yeah, I'm gonna put the object back here, okay, I'm gonna just, oh, right here, actually, you have the two, you see here that's already a preview of sliced, and you have this, the 3D editor, so click on the 3D editor, go back to your object, and my best position that I have that use very little support was this one here. Let me see here. Let me just rotate. It was 180. Let me see. It was not this. Minus 90. Hold on. Okay, 90. Was not this. Let me see. Let's see again, what's the orientation of my sphere? Okay. Let me see the one. Okay. And let me see what was the best. Actually, it was this one here. There you go. Found the orientation. Let me see the correct this orientation here, and I will put minus 90 degrees. Yeah, that was the one that I showed to you, remember? So I have so you see my cube is floating a little bit, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just put supports on the build plates only. I'm gonna slice So it's gonna be very little, and you can see now it's 9 hours. So I saved 2 hours, but because this image obviously is too big, I'm gonna make it smaller, very small, just for the sake of tutorial, okay? It's a huge piece, and you can see the size of it. Oh, so big. Let me put here. These are in millimeters. I can change this for later. I just go to print settings. So going here to print settings, filament settings. Let's see, go to print settings. I'm gonna find inches. I'm still in millimeters. Let me see if I have the options here. Just give me a second. Fill, distance. I'm gonna just go, let's go back to the printer. I'm gonna just put here, let's see. I mean, if you work with millimeters, just grab, if you don't know how to work with millimeters, grab a ruler. I work with millimeters, so so 10 millimeters is 1 centimeter. So I'm gonna put let's see, 10 millimeters, 1 centimeter. I'm gonna put 5 centimeters. Still 5 centimeters, still a little bit big for me. But let me see here what I got, okay? It's gonna be an hour. I still think that's too big. I'm gonna put 3, okay? So for the sake of the tutorial, I don't want to spend a lot of time. Okay, right there. All right, 27 minutes. Fair for the tutorial, okay? Fair, but still you can see that's a bed there. There's some supports on the bottom. It's not gonna be the best print, but for the sake of the tutorial, but you can see. All right, ready. All right, cool. After I have this ready, everything's, oh, inches right here. That's the one I was looking. So in inch, I'm gonna put at least 2 inches, okay? 1 inch would be too tiny. 2 inches, I'll go back to the, and it's nice, cool. 2 inches will be fine, all right? Wow, it changed a lot an hour, right? Just put 2 inches, so I'm gonna make 1 inch, sorry. 1 inch, 1.5 inches. Let's see what we can reduce. All right, 45 minutes, fair. All right, so when I have my 3D printer, 3D printing object, my 3D object ready, everything's fine, everything's correct here. The infuse, everything's pretty nice here, ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead and export. It's already sliced, right? Sliced before, and I'm gonna export, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna click export. Export G code. So the export G code, I'm gonna just type here super cube 3. So this G code here is the file that you will run in your 3D printer, okay? The G code format, and that object, your 3D object, is sliced, okay? You show to you. I really like the process slicer because it actually show not just the time. Most of the 3D printer software show times, but shows the amount of filaments in every section of my object, how long it takes, how much filaments is used. I mean, it shows everything, and even the percentage of the form, all broken down very nice. So I really like the software, okay? Well, I'm gonna save my file, and that's pretty much. The file is saved. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save that file on SD drive, and the SD drive I'm gonna run on my 3D printer, which soon I'm gonna create a video on that. Make sure that you take a look, okay? So really hope that helped you a little bit to know a little bit how Process Slicer software works, a little bit more about how to set up and organize your 3D model. Please take advantage of that, you know, like really take advantage of that. It's fun, and that's pretty much. So again, thanks for stopping by. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, so you keep yourself updated of what I've been creating on a new media workshop. Cool. So I'll see you on my 3rd and last video. All right, peace out.